Okay, so I had a comment, somebody requesting that I make or share any basically career module for Big Country Football. And indeed, I do have one. It just needed to type it up. So I did. I decided to, once I finished the 1985 season, I knew I was going to go through this and I was going to get it tightened up and then I was going to type it up. So I went ahead today, since I had time, and finished it. This too, this is an add-on off-season package for your Big Country leagues. Basically, it's meant to be used as a career module for your Big Country football leagues, whether you use NFL History League or something, or you make your own leagues, whatever. I would advise, if you want to make your own league, just name some teams, put the units in, and then you can start with this off-season package without any players currently existing. However, it's best to probably just take the teams that I created, and you can just edit the names of those players and teams, and you'll have some base units that you can do. So what's interesting about Big Country Football's off-season package is Big Country uses ratings that, of course, matter, but the ratings are abstract, but they also represent the unit, not just one player. However, I named the players, I talked about this already, to make a more personal, fictional league. But the gist of what I'm getting at is Big Country Football's off-season is a 5-phase active participation. So you actually don't roll any dice. You have to go through every team in your league for all 5 phases and complete all of these tasks actively. So you don't get to roll random dice. You don't get to do random things. You have to go through every phase for every team. So you would do postseason losses, do every team the way it says here. Then you move on to the pre-draft free agents and do every team in your league in the order I say that I note here. And then you go on to the third phase and do the draft for every team in your league. And then you go on to the training camp phase and do every team in your league. Then you move on to the preseason simulation phase, where you're going to simulate. You're going to simulate 5 weeks of preseason by rolling all of your new special teams players and your new interception return. You're not actually going to simulate the games because that's a waste of time. As we all know, preseason is worthless. It's meaningless. I hate preseason football. I've said this before. Preseason football is like pornography. It just gets me all worked up and then I have nowhere to go. The reality is, but preseason football is valuable in getting your team ready to play. We all agree on that. But we're going to use preseason. Game after game 1, you'll roll to see what kind of punter you have. After game 2, you'll roll to see what kind of new kick returning unit you have. After game 3, you'll roll to see what kind of punt returning you have. After game 4, you'll roll to see what your place kicker looks like coming out of. And then finally, in preseason 5, once the rosters are damn near set, you'll roll to see what kind of defensive unit interception return you'll have. This is the only thing you roll for all of the offseason. Everything else you must actively do for every team. It makes it fun, it makes it interactive, and it's more of a game. It's going to create an entire off-season game for you to do through your league, which is very cool. Then finally, the final phase, start a new season, make a new schedule, get your stuff going and get going. However, I do want to make a note here. At any point during the phases, you can choose for a team to automatically zero a unit, locking it. And once you do that, of course, you can no longer edit that unit for the remainder of the phases. So this is something you might want to do when you have a -3 tight end, right? You want to say, listen, I can't rectify this. I'm not going to try to rectify this. I'm going to go ahead and cut him, and I'm going to zero that unit out. Now you can't do anything else to the tight end unit for the remainder of the camp. This is always available at any time during the actual phases. It is not available during the preseason simulation, so you cannot lock a unit before preseason. So basically, let's say I'm in the draft phase and I'm about to do the draft, and I realize, you know what, I'm not going to try to replace the tight end. I'm just going to blank my tight end and I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to go ahead and do the tight draft, right? But I cannot now modify the tight end in the next phase in training camp. Right, and that tight end or whatever unit you choose to lock it. This is something you might do when you realize there's just no way you're going to want to spend your entire off season for that team trying to fix a -3 tight end, right? If that makes sense. Okay. So again, what you're going to find with this career package is it's active. You get to go through every team and make conscious changes for every team, and then you get to partake in that sense. It's going to make it kind of an off-season. It's going to make it like a game without rolling dice. And then, of course, you can see the teams evolve. You'll get more. And what's cool about this is you'll actually become more intimate and more familiar with the teams through this process. And then, dead last, you're going to find out by placing every team's special teams updates and interception returns. And there you have it. I'm going to put this in the Google Drive folder. Again, this is part of the Big Country Football game set. And again, as usual, it is free. So enjoy. This might be a great way to start Big Country Football. Take the 8-team league that I provide and start with this so you can edit those teams right out of the gate and get a sense of your own Big Country fictional league. All right. Thank you, and everybody have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.